wake up on a slab, covered with dried blood and viscera. Next to you is a device that looks like some kind of sewing machine. Arms with hooks, tubes, and metallic thread hang from it. Around you is a system of rails running throughout the room. It looks like these slabs can be moved around on these rails. You catch movement from the corner of your eye. A floating skull? No. You realize, as it speaks, a floating, talking skull.
Hey, Chief, you okay? You playing cops, or you putting the blinds in the dusties? I thought you were dead for sure.
Who are you?
Huh? Who am I? Well, how about you start? Who are you?
I don't know. I can't remember.
You can't remember your name? Well, next time you spend a night in this burg, go easy on the bub. Name's Mort. I'm trapped in here too.
Trapped?
Yeah. Since you haven't had time to get your legs yet, here's the chant. I've tried all the doors, and this room is locked tighter than a chastity belt.
We're locked in? Where? What is this place?
It's called the Mortuary. It's a big black structure with all the architectural charm of a pregnant spider.
The Mortuary? What? Am I dead?
Not from where I'm standing. You got scars aplenty, though. Looks like some Burke painted you with a knife. All the more reason to give this place the laugh before whoever carved you up comes back to finish the job.
Scars? How bad are they?
Well, the carvings on your chest aren't too bad. But the ones on your back? Say, it looks like you got a whole tattoo gallery on your back, Chief. Spells out something.
Tattoos on my back? What do they say?
Hey, it looks like you come in directions. Let's see. It starts with... I know you feel like you've been drinking a few kegs of Styx wash, but you need to center yourself. Among your possessions is a journal that'll shed some light on the dark of the matter. Farad can fill you in on the rest of the chant, if he's not in the dead book already.
Farad? Does it say anything else?
Yeah, there's a bit more. Let's see, it goes on. Don't lose the journal, or we'll be up to Styx again, and whatever you do not tell anyone who you are or what happens to you, or they'll put you on a quick pilgrimage to the crematorium. Do what I tell you. Read the journal, then find Farad.
No wonder my back hurts. There's a damn novel written there. As for that journal I'm supposed to have with me, was the one with me while I was lying here?
No, you were stripped to the skins when you arrived here. Besides, looks like you got enough of a journal penned on your body.
What about Farad? Do you know him?
Nobody I know, but then again, I don't know many people. Still, some Burke's gotta know where to find Farad. Once we get out of here, that is.
How do we get out of here?
Well, all the doors are locked, so we'll need the key. Chances are one of the walking corpses in this room has it.
Walking corpses?
Yeah. The mortuary keepers use dead bodies as cheap labor. The corpses are as dumb as stones, but they're harmless and won't attack you unless you attack first.
So what? Should I attack one of these corpses and loot it for the key? Is there some other way?
Oh, what? You think it's gonna hurt their feelings? They're dead. But if you want a bright side of this, if you kill them, at least they'll have a rest before the keepers raise them up to work again.
Well, alright. I'll take one of them down and get the key.
Well, before you do that, arm yourself first. I think there's a scalpel on one of the shelves around here.
Alright, I'll look for one.
Oh, one last thing. Those corpses are as slow as molasses, but getting punched by one of them is like being kissed by a battering ram. If they start getting an edge on you, remember, you can run. They can't. Use it to keep some distance if you need to recover.
Alright, thanks for the advice. Amongst the bloody rags and old rusted surgical tools on the shelves, you find a serviceable scalpel and a few clean bandages.
Alright, you found a scalpel. Now, go get those corpses. And don't worry, I'll stay back and provide valuable tactical advice.
Maybe you could help me, Mort.
I will be helping you. Good advice is how to come by.
I meant help in attacking the corpse.
Me, I'm a romantic, not a soldier. I just get in the way.
When I attack this corpse, you better be right there with me, or you'll be the next thing that I plunge the scalpel in.
Hey, alright, I'll help you.
I'm glad we understand each other.
Time to introduce these corpses to the second death, then.
Let's go. You see 3 animated corpses tending to various bodies on the metal slabs. The bodies are in differing states of dissection. One looks like someone turned it inside out. A machine at the head of the table has peeled back the skin on the forehead, giving direct access to the skull. Another is covered in blood and completely gutted. You walk to the nearest zombie. The shambling corpse looks like it has been dead for several years. The skin along its forehead has also been peeled back, revealing its chalk white skull. Someone has chiseled the number 569 into the exposed bone. I'm looking for a key. Do you happen to have one?
Chief, they can't hear you, alright? They're dead.
But you're dead, and you're talking to me.
Yeah, but I'm special. Death couldn't kill my zest for life. These corpses here, well, they probably didn't have much personality to begin with.
I see.
Look, Chief, watching you trying to swap the chant with these corpses isn't doing much for my morale. Let's leave the corpse talk for the bombies, alright?
Alright, let's go. You approach the second zombie. This corpse's head lolls back and forth on its shoulders. Judging from the angle of the neck, it looks as though this man may have been hanged. The number 825 has been painted on the side of his head. You examine the corpse to see if it is carrying the key. It is carrying nothing, but you happen to notice its hands are heavily bandaged. The bandages might be useful if the corpse was disposed of first. The third corpse stops and stares blankly at you as you approach. The number 782 is carved into its forehead and its lips have been stitched closed. The faint smell of formaldehyde emanates from the body, barely covering the unbearable stench coming from the cloth-covered corpse lying next to it. You notice a small metal key grasped in its left hand, thumb and forefinger locked around it in a death grip. I need that key, corpse. Looks like you're not long for this world. You plunge the scalpel deep into the side of the zombie's head, and it slumps to the ground with a heavy thud. The second zombie notices and lurches a clumsy swing at Mort, just missing the bobbing skull. A few stabs into its chest with your scalpel quickly stills the now twice dead corpse. You take the extra bandages and hack the key free from the still grasped hand.
Alright, that's the key. It must fit the lock of one of the doors of this room.
You push open the heavy rusted doors with a grinding squeal, revealing a room with 2 large slabs on rotating platforms, each attended by a zombie, both with female forms.
Psst, some advice, Chief. I'd keep it quiet from here on. No need to put any more corpses in the dead book than necessary, especially the femmes. Plus, killing them might draw the caretakers here.
Why do you care about the female corpses?
What? Are you serious? Look, Chief, these dead chits are the last chance for a couple of hardy bashes like us. We need to be chivalrous. No hacking them up for keys, no lopping their limbs off, things like that.
Last chance? What are you talking about?
Chief, they're dead. We're dead. You see where I'm going? Eh?
You can't be serious.
Chief, we already got an opening line with these limping ladies. We've all died at least once. We'll have something to talk about. They'll appreciate men with that kind of death experience.
But wait, didn't you say before that I'm not dead?
Well, alright, you might not be dead, but I am. And from where I'm standing, I wouldn't mind sharing a coffin with some of these fine, sinewy cadavers I see here.
Mort starts clacking his teeth as if in anticipation.
Course, the caretakers would have to part with them first, and that's not likely.
Where did all these corpses come from?
Death visits the plains every day, Chief. These lummoxes are all that's left of the poor sods who sold their bodies to the caretakers after death.
Enlighten me. Who are these caretakers?
They call themselves the Dustmen. You can't miss them. They have an obsession with black and rigor mortis of the face. They're an adult bunch of ghoulish death worshippers. They believe everybody should die sooner better than later.
I'm confused. Why do these Dustmen care if I escape?
Weren't you listening? I said the Dusties believe everybody's gotta die. Sooner better than later. You think the corpses you've seen are happier in the dead book than out of it?
All right. I'll try to remember that.
Look, Chief, you're still a little addled after your kiss with death. So 2 bits of advice for you. 1, if you got questions, ask me, all right?
All right. If I have any questions, I'll ask you.
2nd, if you're half as forgetful as you seem to be, start writing stuff down. Whenever you come across something that might be important, jot it down so you don't forget.
If I had that journal I was supposed to have with me, I'd do that.
Start a new one then, Chief. No loss. There's plenty of parchment and ink around here to last you.
All right. It couldn't hurt. I'll make a new one then.
Use it to keep track of your movements. If you ever start to get cloudy on important things like who you are, or more importantly, who I am, use it to refresh your memory.
All right. I got it. Let's go. As you pass, one of the shambling corpses stares at you with their vacant eyes. Her skin is paper thin, almost wispy. It's like someone draped a sheet of cobwebs across her frame. The number 594 is scratched in charcoal across her forehead. So, you doing anything later? She stares blankly back at you. Farewell then.
Psst. You see the way she was looking at me? Huh? You see that? The way she was following the curve of my occipital bone.
You mean that blank-eyed beyond-the-grave stare?
What? Are you blind? She was scouting me out. It was shameless the way she wanted me.
I think you and your imagination need some time away from each other.
Well, yeah, whatever. When you've been dead as long as I have, you know the signals. They may be too subtle for you to pick up on, but that's why I'll be spending my nights with some luscious, recently dead chit. While you're standing around going, what's going on? Where's my memories?
Whatever, Mort. Let's go. You see another zombie, lumbering in a triangular path. Once it reaches one of the corners of the triangle, it pauses, then turns and staggers to the next corner.
Hey, looks like someone forgot to tell this sot to stop walking the rule of 3s.
What do you mean?
These corpses don't have much left in the attic, so they can't do more than one task at a time. When they're told to do something, they'll keep doing it until someone tells them to stop. This poor sod probably finished some task, and they forgot to tell him.
Who gives them their commands?
Either one of the caretakers here, or else whatever necromancer raised them out of the dead book. Probably one of the caretakers here. They're the ones who need the cheap labor, after all.
I see. What was it you said before about the rule of 3s?
Huh? Oh, well, the rule of 3 is one of those laws about the planes, about things tending to happen in 3s, or everything's composed of 3 parts, or there's always 3 choices, and so on and so forth.
You don't sound like you hold much faith in it.
It's a load of wash, if you ask me. If you look for a number, any number, and try to attach some great meaning to it, you're gonna find plenty of coincidences.
Understood. In the next room are more slabs. More zombies padding, mindless between the bandaged cadavers, wrapping their rotting incisions. The walls are lined with murky barrels and shelves covered with old books, parchment, and bottles of dark black ink. A zombie with the number 1201 inked on its forehead turns to face you. The ink has run down its eyes, cheeks, and jaw. As you follow the ink tears down the corpse's face, you notice it has run into the stitching sealing the corpse's lips shut and has caught on what looks like the corner of a note stuck in the corpse's mouth. You cut the stitches with the scalpel, and the corpse's jaw sags open. Despite the condition of the paper, the writing still appears legible. Please, to whatever Dustman reads this, I beg of you. I know of my legal obligation under the terms of the dead contract, but I am prepared to offer more than my signing fee if you will cremate my body rather than raising it. I have arranged for this note to be left on my body upon my death. If you are reading this, then please use this note as instructed and accept the result in exchange for my contracted duty. Let my contract number serve as the key. Beneath the writing is a diagram instructing you to fold the note so the corners touch the center. There is a series of strange symbols marked on each corner. 1 on the upper right, 2 on the lower right, 3 on the lower left, and none on the upper left. You fold the upper right corner inward so its point touches the center, followed by the lower right corner. As you then fold the upper left corner, the upper right unfolds by itself, resuming its normal position. As you fold the upper right corner back to the center, The lower left corner mirrors the action until all the corners touch in the center. You watch for a moment, and the corners of the paper raise up, turning the note into a small four-sided paper pyramid. You peel back the sides of the pyramid, and the paper disintegrates into dust. Inside is a small triangle-shaped earring. It gleams as it catches what little light there is. Despite its beauty, all it seems to do is remind you how strange this world you've woken up in is. You return to searching the shelves and find enough paper and ink to start your journal, along with some fist irons and 13 copper pieces. You also find a thickly bound book with the title Receiving Room Logbook engraved on the side. This huge logbook lists mortuary procedures in a tight, crabbed script.
All shells entering the mortuary are to be delivered to the receiving room and logged with the scribe on duty before being embalmed or cremated. The records are to be checked to determine if the shell is one of the contracted, and if so, do not prepare the shell. Move the shell to one of the preparation rooms. Contact the scribe on duty and notify him that a contracted shell is to be raised. Be certain that a shell is thoroughly stripped of its possessions before being sent to the preparation rooms. The contracted workers are intended for simple manual labor and do not have the capacity to search and strip a shell. The faction is not responsible for any possessions lost or items stolen by collectors who have brought the shells to the mortuary. The shell's possessions are to be stored in the receiving room until an initiate can be sent to claim them. Please catalog all possessions in the logbook.
Following this list are thousands of entries of bodies that have been sent to the receiving room. As you flip through the rest of the book, however, you notice the last page has been cut out. You tear away the remaining useless pages and carefully fold in the blank parchment, forming a makeshift journal to track your memories. You have to start somewhere. Day 1. Hour unknown. My original journal's gone missing, so I've started a new one. I woke up in a place called the Mortuary. I don't know who I am, what I'm doing here, or even how I got here. The only person encountered was a chattering skull called Mort. While he was checking my wounds, he discovered a set of directions tattooed on my back. I know you feel like you've been drinking a few kegs of Styx wash, but you need to center yourself. Among your possessions is a journal that'll shed some light on the dark of the matter. Farrad can fill you in on the rest of the chant, if he's not in the dead book already. Don't lose the journal, or we'll be up the sticks again. And whatever you do, do not tell anyone who you are or what happens to you, or they'll put you on a quick pilgrimage to the crematorium. Do what I tell you. Read the journal, then find Farrad. Did I leave this message for myself? Looks like I'll need to find this Farrad and my journal. Wandering these metallic halls, you gain a sense they are arranged in a large wheel encircling some central column. You see two gates, one leading further round the column, the other to a descending staircase. You push against the sharp, rusted iron of the stairway gate, only to find it is warped and seized completely shut. Damn it. Further within the cavernous hall, you hear a ragged cough. Behind a huge looming tome sits an old man, wrinkled and yellow as the parchment on which he writes. This scribe looks very old. Charcoal grey eyes lie within an angular face, and a large white beard flows down the front of his robes like a waterfall. His breathing is ragged and irregular, but even his occasional coughing does not slow the scratching of his quill pen. Greetings.
Whoa, Chief, what are you doing?
I was going to speak with this scribe. He might know something about how I got here.
Look, rattling your bone box with Dusties should be the last thing that you want to...
Before Mort can finish his rant, the scribe begins coughing violently. After a moment or two, the coughing spell dies down, and the scribe's breathing resumes its ragged wheeze.
And we especially shouldn't be swapping the chant with sick Dusties. Come on, let's leave. The quicker we give this place the laugh, the better.
Before Mort can finish, The scribe's grey eyes flicker to you.
The weight of years hangs heavy upon me, restless one.
He places down his quill.
But I do not yet count deafness among my ailments.
Restless one, do you know me?
Know you? I have never known you, restless one. No more than you have known yourself. For you have forgotten, have you not?
Who are you?
As always, the question. And the wrong question, as always. I am Dahl.
Well then, Dahl, perhaps you can answer some questions for me.
Very well. What did you wish to know?
What is this place?
You are in the Mortuary, restless one. Again, you have come.
Before he can finish, Dahl breaks into a fit of coughing. After a moment, he calms himself, and his breathing resumes its ragged wheeze.
This is the waiting room for those about to depart the shadow of this life.
Why do you call me Restless One?
Restless is as good a term as any. Something keeps you here, does it not? Something that must be resolved. Some passion that must be quenched before you can reach the true death.
True death?
True death is non-existence. A state devoid of reason, of sensation, of passion. A state of purity.
Sounds like oblivion. Why would anyone want that?
Is it worse than remaining in the shadow of what life once was? I think not.
Shadow of life?
Yes, a shadow. You see, restless one, this life, it is not real. Your life, my life, they are shadows, flickerings of what life once was. This life is where we end up after we die, and here we remain, trapped, caged, until we can achieve the true death.
What makes you think this life isn't real?
What makes you think this life is real? Look inside yourself. Do you not feel something lacking? This is a purgatory. There is only sorrow here, misery, torment. These are not the elements that make up life. They are a part of the cage that traps us in this shadow.
I think your fatalism has gotten the better of you. Those elements are part of life, but not the whole of it.
Passions carry weight. They anchor many to this shadow of life. As long as one clings to emotion, they will be continually reborn into this life, forever suffering, never knowing the purity of true death.
I see. How does one escape the cycle of rebirth and achieve this true death?
Kill your passions. Strip yourself of the need for sensation. When you are truly cleansed, then the cycle of rebirth will end, and you achieve peace.
Dahl sighs. It sounds like a death rattle in his throat.
Past these shells of ours, past the eternal boundary, lies the peace that all souls seek.
The eternal boundary?
The boundary between the shadow of this life and the true death.
Tell me more about the Mortuary.
This is where the dead are brought to be interred or cremated. It is our responsibility as Dustmen to care for the dead, those who have left this shadow of life and walked the path to true death. Your wounds must have exacted a heavy toll if you do not recognize this place. It is almost your home.
Wounds.
Yes. The wounds that decorate your body. They look as if they would have sent a lesser man along the path of the true death. Yet, it seems as if many of them have healed already. But those are only the surface wounds.
Only surface wounds? What do you mean?
I speak of wounds of the mind. You have forgotten much, have you not? Mayhap your true wounds run much deeper than the scars that decorate your surface. But that is something that only you would know for certain.
And what of these Dustmen?
We Dustmen are a faction. A gathering of those of us that recognize the illusion of this life. We await the next life and help others on their journey.
Perhaps you can explain why the Dustmen want me dead.
It is said there are souls who can never attain the true death. Death has forsaken them, and their names shall never be penned in the dead book. To awake from death as you have done suggests you are one of these souls. Your existence is unacceptable to our faction.
Unacceptable? That doesn't sound like it leaves me in a good position.
You must understand, your existence is a blasphemy to them. Many of our faction would order you cremated, if they were aware of your affliction.
You're Dustman, but you don't seem to be in favor of killing me. Why not?
Because forcing our beliefs upon you is not just. You must give up this shadow of life on your own, not because we force you to.
Dahl looks about to break into another fit of coughing, but he manages to hold it in with some effort.
As long as I remain at my post, I will protect your right to search for your own truth.
What is your post?
I am a scribe, a cataloger of all the shells that come to the mortuary. As long as the stream of corpses flows through the mortuary, I shall remain at my post. Only I see the faces of those that lie upon our slabs. The dark of your existence lies safe with me.
How did I get here? Dahl snorts in contempt, as if he finds the memory repugnant.
Your moldy chariot ferried you to the mortuary, Restless One. You would think you were royalty based on the number of loyal subjects that lay stinking and festering upon the cart that carried you.
I arrived here on a cart.
Yes. Your body was somewhere in the middle of the heap, sharing its fluids with the rest of the mountain of corpses.
Dahl breaks into another violent fit of coughing, finally catching his breath minutes later.
Your seneschal, Farad, was as always pleased to accept a few moldy coppers to dump the lot of you at the mortuary gate.
Who is this Farad?
He is a collector of the dead. We have such people in our city that scavenge the bodies of those that have walked the path of true death and bring them to us so they may be interred properly.
Doesn't sound like you like Farad much.
There are some I respect, Restless One. Farad is not one of them. He wears his ill repute like a badge of honor and takes liberties with the possessions of the dead. He is a knight of the post, cross-trading filth of the lowest sort.
Knight of the Post?
A knight of the post. A thief. All Farad brings to our walls come stripped of a little less of their dignity than they possessed in life. Farad takes whatever he may pry from their stiffening fingers.
Did this Farad take anything from me?
Most likely. Are you missing anything? Especially anything of value? Not that Farad would take exception to anything that wasn't physically grafted to your body. And sometimes even that's not enough to give his greedy mind pause.
I am missing a journal.
A journal? If it was of any value, then it is likely it lies in Farad's hands.
Where can I find this Farad?
If events persist as they have, Restless One, you have a much greater chance of Farad finding you and bringing you to us again before you find whatever ooze puddle he wallows in this time.
Nevertheless, I must find him. A slight warning creeps into Dahl's tone.
Do not seek out Farad, Restless One. I am certain that it will simply come full circle again, with you none the wiser, and Farad a few coppers richer. Accept death, Restless One. Do not perpetuate your circle of misery.
I have to find him. Do you know where he is? Dahl is silent for a moment. When he finally speaks, he seems to do so reluctantly.
I do not know under which gutter stone Farad lairs at this moment, but I imagine that he can be found somewhere beyond the mortuary gates in the hive. Perhaps someone there will know where you can find him.
Thank you. Do you know who I am?
I know scant little of you, Restless One. I know little more of those that have journeyed with you and who now lie in our keeping. I ask that you no longer ask others to join with you, Restless One. Where you walk, so walks misery. Let your burden be your own.
There are others who have journeyed with me, and they are here.
Do you not know the woman's corpse interred in the memorial hall below? I thought that she had traveled with you in the past. Am I mistaken?
Where is her body?
In the memorial hall on the floor below us. Check the bars there. Her name should be on one of the memorial plaques. Mayhap that will revive your memory.
I don't know. I don't recall ever traveling with a woman. Dahl makes no response to this. He simply stares at you in silence. You said there were others interred here who journeyed with me. Where are they?
Doubtless there are, but I know not their names nor where they lie. One such as you has left a path many have walked, and few have survived.
Dahl gestures around you.
All dead come here. Some must have traveled with you once.
I find no fault with your reasoning. Can you tell me how to get out of here?
The front gate is the most obvious exit. But they will not let anyone other than Dustmen pass. One of the guides by the front gate has a key to it, but it is unlikely he will open it for you unless you are extremely persuasive.
I see. You sound ill. Are you not well?
I am close now to the true death, Restless One. It will not be long before I pass beyond the eternal boundary and find the peace I have been seeking. I tire of this mortal sphere. The plains hold no more wonders for one such as I.
Are you certain? There might be some way I could help you.
I do not wish to live forever, nor live again, Restless One. I could not bear it.
So be it. Farewell, Dahl. As you turn to leave, Dahl speaks.
Know this. I do not envy you, Restless One. To be reborn as you would be a curse that I could not bear. You must come to terms with it. At some point, your path will return you here. It is the way of all things flesh and bone.
Then perhaps we will meet again, Dal. Day 1, hour unknown. I met a sickly scribe named Dal in the Mortuary. He knew I had forgotten myself before I even spoke to him. Did I know him before I lost my memories? I was hoping to get some answers, but this place seems to breed more and more questions. In the next room, you see a solitary zombie. This huge corpse looks to have been a heavy-set man in his early years. Judging by the condition of the body, he died only recently. The freshly stitched number on his forehead reads 1664. It looks like it is serving as a librarian, for it is carrying a huge stack of books in its arms. They appear to be old mortuary ledgers, none of them of any particular interest. However, you notice a loose page tucked away, hidden between two of the books. The tear is clean, as if with a knife. It's a list of dead bodies brought to the mortuary and logged in the receiving room. All the entries appear to be recent arrivals.
16,537, 5th night. Drunk, chest wound, cause of death, mauling. Abishai, collector, pox, 3 commons paid, no possessions. 16,538, 5th night. Desiccated corpse. Cause of death, indeterminable. Age of shell prevents identification. Collector, Farad. 3 commons paid, no possessions. Stripped. Knife marks evident from dissection. 16,539, 5th night. Scarred shell. Cause of death, indeterminable. Scars do not appear to be cause of death. Shock trauma. Collector, Farad. 3 commons paid. Possessions logged. Fist irons and 13 coppers common. Middle table, receiving room. 16,540, 5th night. Desiccated corpse number 2. Cause of death, indeterminable. Age of shell prevents identification. Collector, Farad. 3 commons paid. Possessions logged. Knife marks evident from dissection, but the dissection was not thorough enough. Copper earring found lodged in abdomen. Earring has been locked in the preparation room. Have an initiate from the 3rd circle examine it. It has strange markings like those on contracted worker number 79. 16,541, 5th night. Skeleton. Cause of death, indeterminable. Age of shell prevents identification. Collector, Farad. 3 commons paid, no possessions. Stripped. Knife marks evident from dissection. As with the previous entries, these shells Farad has brought also show signs of having been prepared. I have asked that Initiate Emmerich launch an investigation into the matter. Furthermore, entry number 16,542 was one of Farad's gang. I have seen the individual before. I would ask Emmerich to pay heed to how the man died. 16,542, 5th night. Tiefling, male. Cause of death, slash marks and discoloration of wounds are consistent with grave rot. Ghoul claws. Collector, Farad. 3 commons paid, no possessions. Stripped. Knife marks evident from dissection.
As you enter the next room, you are immediately struck by the nauseating stench from one of the cadavers. someone split open this man's chest and has yet to remove the internal organs. The bandages covering his body are soaked with blood. Even though this corpse looks several days dead, blood still trickles from his wounds. A heavily stitched zombie is shuffling lazily back and forth between two slabs. The number 506 has been stitched on its forehead, and the side of its neck, and its right arm. In fact, the skin of this peeling corpse has been sewn up with so many stitches, its skin looks like a bizarre street map. The stitches encircle the corpse, running from its arms, across its chest, up its neck, and into the damp mass of white hair. As you follow the crossroads of stitches, you notice someone has jammed a needle into the corpse's forehead. The needle is attached to a thread stitching up the side of the skull. You slice the thread neatly with a scalpel, then pluck out the needle and pull the stitches out. As you do, the skin covering the forehead peels back to reveal the corpse's chalk white skull, where to your surprise, the number 78 has been chiseled.
Seems you got two different designations there, corpse.
The corpse stares straight ahead, oblivious. Further to your right, corpse number 985 has stopped dead in its tracks. Judging from the condition of its left leg, it looks as if some sort of tomb rot or corpse mold has eaten through its knee. It wobbles back and forth, trying to keep its balance. You reach out to help steady it, but the corpse suddenly sways to the right and you end up tugging on its arm.
Chief, you might not want to do...
There is a crack, and the body falls like a dead tree. Its torso strikes the flagstones and shatters like a rotten melon, filth and ichor gurgling from the cavity. To your surprise, the left leg remains standing where the body was, as if at attention. Then, after a moment, falls over with a wet thump. As you gaze upon the putrefied remains of the corpse, you notice that its left arm seems intact. It snapped from the torso during the fall and doesn't appear to have been touched by the tomb rot that had spread through the rest of the body. It looks like the combination of thick applications of embalming fluid and rigor mortis has made this arm almost as hard as wood. If you needed to, you could either use it to shake someone's hand from a distance, or use it to bash their skull in.
I wonder if I can make use of that arm.
Mort looks at you uneasily.
I'm kidding. Whatever. Let's move on.
By one of the central slabs, you see a slight young woman with pale features. The sunken flesh around her cheeks and neck makes her appear as if she is starving. She seems intent on dissecting the corpse in front of her, prodding the chest with a finger. "Greetings." The woman does not respond, her entire focus on the body in front of her. As you watch her work, you notice her hands. Her fingers are talons. They are darting in and out of the corpse's chest cavity like knives, removing organs.
I said, "Greetings."
The woman makes no response.
I think the dusty chit might be short of hearing, Chief. Let's lay off, shall we?
What's wrong with her hands?
She's a tiefling, Chief. They got fiend blood in their veins. Usually 'cause some ancestor of theirs shed knickers with one demon or another. Makes some of them addled in the head and addled looking, too.
You tap her to get her attention. She jumps and whips round to face you. Her eyes are a rotting yellow, with small orange dots for pupils. Her expression changes from surprise to irritation, and she frowns at you.
Greetings.
She doesn't seem to have heard you. She leans forward, squinting, as if she can't quite make you out. Whatever is wrong with her eyes must make her terribly nearsighted.
You!
She clacks her taloned fingers together and makes a few intricate motions with her hands.
You find thread and embalming juice. Bring here. To Evine. Go, go, go.
She shuffles you towards the gateway leading to the next room. Unsure exactly how to respond to being mistaken for a shambling corpse, you follow her bizarre orders and move promptly towards the gate. You think the room empty, aside from one large slab, until you notice a single zombie swaying gently in the shadows. The corpse gazes at you with vacant eyes. The number 821 is carved into his forehead and his lips have been stitched closed. A strong smell of formaldehyde emanates from the body.
So, seen anything interesting going on?
As you address the zombie, it blinks in surprise.
What?
You're not a zombie. Who are you? The zombie is trying to respond behind stitched lips. He has a peculiar, half-frightened, half-angry expression.
Oh, you. What you want?
Who are you? The zombie doesn't seem to have heard you. He looks you up and down for a few moments, then frowns.
What you do here?
His eyes narrow to slits.
You spy on Dusters.
No, I'm trying to escape.
Oh, you in trouble. What you do?
I woke up on one of the slabs here. The zombie recoils.
You barmy.
Yes, I am barmy. Very barmy. He hisses and makes a shooing motion.
You barmy. Get away from me.
You'll answer my damn questions first, or I'll make that disguise a reality. A sneer crawls across his face.
You try and put me in deadbook. I have friends there. You got nobody. You touch me, my friends kill you.
What if I expose your disguise to the guards? There must be something in your eye that makes the zombie's expression crumble.
No, don't call gods. Me spy on Dusty, say what I see, nothing more.
Spy? For who? The zombie falls into silence, eyes darting about. He seems unwilling to say any more. It'll be a lot less painful for you if you tell me now who you're spying for.
Hold on. This Burke must be an anarchist. Posing as a zombie's gotta be a first for those adult sods.
Anarchist?
Anarchists. They're a faction that waste their time peeping on authority figures and looking for ways to tear down anything that stinks of order or control. The anarchists think every Burke across the plains will be free and happy to seek out their own truth once the establishment is burned to the ground. They want to establish a new order. No order at all.
That has to be one of the most stupid things I've ever heard. The zombie is watching you both fearfully, silent. But something in his expression tells you Mort's guess was right on the mark. The anarchists, huh? That are you watching this place for? The zombie turns away from you, hiding his expression. Never mind. What have you seen the Dustmen do?
Nothing. They do nothing. I can't find nothing. They're just dead. People, just Dusties do nothing. Still, I watch.
How can I escape from here?
You can escape through portals.
He waves his hands. Portals? What portals?
Portals.
The zombie gestures around the room.
Portals everywhere.
Can you show me one of these portals? He is silent for a moment, then nods slightly as if in understanding.
Why should I help you?
Maybe we could help each other out. What do you want in return?
You need to get a key for me. One iron key to Embalmer's room.
Alright. Where is this key?
A dusty chick has it. She has yellow eyes, blades on fingers.
This Dustman woman sounds really attractive. Are you sure you don't want me to introduce the two of you? The zombie blinks. He doesn't seem to have understood you. That was a joke. See, Oh, forget it. I'll go find your key.
If you're caught, don't say nothing about me, or got you in your sleep.
I'll get your damned key. But you had best watch your threats, you hear me? You head back to the previous room and see Aveen is still dissecting the corpse's chest. The rhythm of her talons reminds you of something, but you can't quite recall what. You watch her for a moment and start to feel a prickling along your scalp. And then suddenly, you find your vision swimming, blurring, until you are standing in front of a freshly slain corpse, rigor mortis making a mockery of its smile. The number 42 has been stitched onto its scalp. The zombie is lying on a slab, and you have just finished stitching up its chest. You have placed something inside, something that may prove useful if you come this way again.
Keep these things safe and wait for my return.
The memory of your voice is an echo, strange and hollow to your ears. You cross your arms in front of your chest, and to your surprise, the corpse does too. After a moment, its hands fall back to its sides, and as it does, the vision fades, and you are watching Aveen's hands make their stitching motions once more. You tap her again to get her attention. She turns, sees you, then frowns. You make the motion of a key turning with your hand. I need an embalming key. Do you have one? She leans forward, looks at your hand motions, then sniffs. Her hand darts into a robe, then emerges, a key hanging from her wickedly sharp index finger. She flicks it into your hand.
Bring back when done. Go! Go!
Again, back in the shadows, you see the false zombie. You're amazed at this man's disguise. His breathing is so subdued you can barely see it.
What?
Here's that embalming room key you wanted. The zombie's eyes widen, and he snatches the key from your hand. He turns it over, nodding all the while.
Oh, good.
Now, can you show me one of these portals?
You will go to arch on first floor, northwest room. You need a finger bone, shape of crook.
He holds up his index finger and bends it into a crook.
When you have key, go to arch, jump to secret crypt, and can escape from here. Secret escape room. You can rest there.
Crooked finger bone. Where am I gonna find one of those?
Must be round somewhere. Look in storage rooms on upper floor, maybe there.
Alright. How did you get to look like that?
Me good at disguise. Me also got scars. Me with lots of embalming fluid. Me like good zombie.
The zombie giggles through stitched lips, then taps his head.
Dusty's stupid.
Yeah, they're the stupid ones, alright.
The sarcasm is evidently lost on the zombie, who nods eagerly.
Dusty's stupid. Stupid Dusty's. Me like good zombie.
Doesn't that hurt? He looks at your scars.
I ask you same question. Me it not hurt much. Me tough.
I have to leave. Farewell. Circling round clockwise, you head into the next room. It is filled with machines and cabinets, along with a slew of cadavers resting on their slabs. In the center are two corpses hooked up to metallic devices, one riddled with tubes. A yellow liquid is cycling through the tubes into a strange machine. The machine is making clicking noises like an insect. Holding back nausea, you check through the cabinets and find a jar of thick green embalming fluid and a copper earring. It looks old, ancient even. It looks like it was meant to be worn, but there doesn't seem to be a hook or any means of actually attaching it to your ear. However, there is a series of grooves spaced evenly on the inside of the earring, and upon closer examination, they remind you of small fangs. They are definitely man-made, but you can't figure out what they were intended for. With both the embalming fluid and the needle and thread, you find yourself oddly drawn to fulfilling the task you were given by the tiefling Dustmen, and head back to complete your strange errand. Without missing a beat, Evine snaps the thread from your hands and hooks it around one of her talons, then begins sewing up the corpse's chest. She then takes the embalming fluid and begins to apply a layer to the corpse. Within minutes, she is finished. She clicks her talons, then turns to face you. To your surprise, she extends her hand and drags her talons along your arms and chest. You keep playing zombie.
Looks like you have a new friend, Chief. You two need some time together, or...
Stow it, Mort! As she traces your arms and chest, you notice she seems to be examining your scars. She withdraws her talons, clicks them twice, then bends forward and examines some of the tattoos on your chest.
Who write on you? Hivers do that? No respect for zombies. Zombies, not paintings.
She sniffs, then pokes one of your scars.
This one bad shape, many scars, no preserves.
Her talons suddenly hook into the thread you brought her, and lightning-like she jabs another talon into the skin near one of your scars. It feels barely more than a pinprick, but it looks like she's about to start stitching you up. You let her work. The sensation is curiously painless. When she is done, she sniffs you, frowns, then stabs her fingers into the embalming fluid. Within minutes, she has dabbed your body with the fluid, and strange enough, it makes you feel better.
This may be the second time in my life I'm thankful I don't have a nose.
Evine puts the last touches on your body, gives you another sniff, nods, then makes a shooing motion with her talons.
Done. Go. Go.
This world gets ever stranger. Day 1. Hour unknown. Watching Aveen stitch up that corpse with a talons triggered a strange memory. I recall performing a similar operation on a corpse long ago, except that I think I was placing something inside its chest rather than taking something out. It felt like I was putting whatever it was in there so I could retrieve it later. In the memory, when I crossed my arms, the corpse itself crossed its arms as well. It had the number 42 written on its scalp. It would seem my memories are out there to be reached. Now, to getting out of this iron maze. The zombie spy told me there's a secret portal under an arch on the first floor of the mortuary. If I take a crooked finger bone up to it, it will activate and take me to a secret crypt where he says I can rest. He doesn't know where I could find a crooked finger bone, however, and suggested I try the upper floor of the mortuary.
The large spiral staircase to the upper floor is lined with rows and rows of bookshelves filled with tomes and records. Amongst them, you notice a large piece of charcoal shaped like a hooked talon. It appears to be the charred remains of some creature. Upon closer inspection, you see tiny scrawled symbols that faintly glow a dull orange. When you reach the summit, you are greeted by a blast of the dry heat from an immense furnace built into the edge of this vast domed upper hall. Animated skeletons stand awaiting their instructions. You approach one with caution. This skeleton, number 748 according to the number chiseled above its brow, is odd, only in that some of its teeth appear to be false ones made of a reddish-brown stone. They're clearly not valuable, otherwise its caretakers would have removed them. Wonder if this Greybeard would mind if I borrowed his body.
Greybeard?
Oh, Greybeard. You know, geezer, old fella, yellow dog. Old.
Well, I don't think he's in any position to object. Why not?
Nah, I'd need a fresher one than this. Something with a little more dignity. This one's all creaky and fractured.
And you're not?
Oh, you're a sack full of laughs. Besides, you'll want to talk, Burke. Mirrors beg for mercy when you're around.
Oh yeah? At least I have all my parts.
Mort snorts.
You're not quite sure how he managed it without lungs. Let's go.
As you pass another skeleton, it shifts and turns to face you. The number 42 has been chiseled into its forehead. You're amazed this rack of bones is still in one piece. Its yellowed limbs are smeared with plaster and foul-smelling glues. What little you can see of the bones reveals hundreds of hairline fractures. The straps binding it together are frayed, and the bolts look like they're about to fall out. A black smock has been draped over its body.
I have to ask, why the smock? I mean, it's not like you have anything to be modest about.
At the sound of your voice, the skeleton suddenly straightens up and crosses its arms over its chest, and its fingers hook into its ribcage.
I think this is the corpse I had that memory about.
You cross your arms over your chest. In response, the skeleton drops its arms to its sides. The leather cords securing the skeleton's torso snap, and the ribcage folds outward like a pair of double doors. You reach into the ribcage and feel around. To your surprise, your hand vanishes and bumps against an unseen object. It's about the size of a fist and seems to be attached to the skeleton's spine. You pull the item out, and the skeleton immediately disintegrates. The iron bolts securing its joints clatter to the floor. Whatever it is, it seems to have been the only thing holding the skeleton together. It appears to be an unremarkable lump of iron. You can't imagine why you would hide it inside the ribcage of a skeleton. Then, as you place both your hands on the lump, there is a hiss, and the metal evaporates, leaving behind a handful of coins wrapped in a dirty cloth, a short green-tinted blade, and 2 bloody teardrops. These look like they were inside the lump of iron.
You there! Hold!
The commotion has drawn the attention of a robed figure, a dustman. They approach and regard you with a stony gaze.
Are you lost?
No.
If you are not lost, then what is your business here?
I'm here to see someone. Who are you here to see?
It is none of your concern.
I'm afraid that it is my concern. Mayhap the guards can loosen your tongue.
The Dustman takes a step back. He looks like he's about to summon the guards, but before he can utter another word, your hands clamp onto the side of his temples and you twist his head sharply to the left.
Can't have you alerting your friends.
There is a crack, and the Dustman falls limp in your arms. Still getting used to this scarred wreck of a body you've woken up in, you are mildly impressed, if a little horrified. It occurs to you that perhaps wearing this man's garb might hold off unwanted attention. You drag the body into the shadows and remove the frayed robes. They have an old, musty smell about them, and they don't fit you very well. You doubt the Dustman disguise will hold up under any scrutiny, and certainly not if the Dustmen are looking for an intruder. Built into the wall of this crematorium is a small annex room. Inside, it is lined with shelves and cabinets. 3 doddering corpses stand waiting for their orders. One of the corpse's meaty heads was clearly severed at some point and hastily sewn back on. Several different sets of stitching, all in various states of unraveling, seem to indicate that the head is constantly being knocked back off and reattached during the course of its work. A number, 79, has been cut into its temple, circumscribed by a fanged circle that appears to have been branded on its forehead long ago, presumably before it died. It's some sort of religious icon or a rite of passage. You notice that one of the recesses between the inner fangs has a small triangle within it, as if it has some special significance. I wonder if the space between the fangs matches the grooves on this copper earring. You hook your fingernail into the notch in the earring matching where the triangle is pointing in the fanged circle and press it inwards. As you do, there is a click and the top of the earring snaps open. It looks like a secret compartment. You shake it, but nothing comes out. Whatever was hidden in the earring is gone now. Amongst the shelves you find more books, more useless names, and one note written on a scrap of dry parchment that catches your attention. Contact the necromancer responsible for raising contractual worker number 42. I know he's examined the skeleton before, but I am certain the initial raising of the body was warped. The worker still responds to commands, but when it has completed a task, it resumes pacing in the same circular pattern as it did before. Dahl recently informed me that Worker 42 exhibited that same walking pattern when it was a zombie decades ago. There may be a soul echo in the marrow, or the skeleton's age may have caused the magic animating him to decay. One of the initiates suggested it may be following an order issued by a higher-ranking Dustman in the past, but I have found no records of such an order. Whatever the reason for its behavior, the matter is to be resolved, or the worker replaced. Soul echo. Under one of the cabinets, you find an iron pry bar and a hefty hammer, both covered in thick black dust. Old, but certainly still usable. Circling round the perimeter, you avoid the eyes of any patrols and happen upon a desk by a set of large brass doors leading to another wide spiraled staircase. On the desk, you find a blood-red metal key. Its jagged C-shaped head looks like it's ready to clamp down on whoever holds it. The stairs lead down and surely are your exit, but you need to find the finger bone to have any hope of escaping unnoticed. Slinking round the dull shadowed edge, faintly lit by the furnace at the opposing side, you dart from slab to slab and come to a skeleton frozen stock still, almost as if deep in thought. This skeleton has either seen a great deal of combat or has fallen down one too many staircases. Both its arms and legs have been broken and rebuilt. The front of its skull bears the number 863, but the back of the skull has caved in, forming an empty cavity. Someone has taken advantage of this and tucked a rolled-up piece of parchment inside the skull. A tiny string is attached to the parchment from a hook bolted inside to keep the parchment from accidentally falling out. This skeleton seems to be a walking messenger. You unhook the string and glance over the parchment.
This is the third and last request for the pry bar. If it has been misplaced, tell me, and I shall go to the hive market and purchase another. I have no objection to maintaining the contracted workers, but I've been trying to repair the skeletons, and the bolts are wedged in so tight I can't get them out. Also, some of the locks in the storage cabinets on the 3rd floor have become stuck again due to the heat, and I need the pry bar to snap them open as well. If the pry bar is indeed lost, I will see about procuring the services of a locksmith and having the cabinet locks replaced. Your aid in this matter would be appreciated.
An unreadable signature has been scrawled beneath the message. As you take a second glance at the skeleton, you realize it has stopped in front of the slab because it can't figure out how to move past it.
Sorry about taking that parchment, but I doubt you would have delivered it any time soon.
The skeleton makes no reply.
Great talking to you, Bones. Stay healthy.
You see another side room filled with more cabinets and drawers. Checking the shelves, there is little of interest. But then, you find that one cabinet is seized shut. With no one about, you place the pry bar into a gap and lever your weight down onto it. The crusted lock bends and contorts before snapping with a crunch. Inside, you find a wrought iron bracelet along with a note with a penned series of tasks written in red ink.
I would like the contracted workers to be inspected thrice daily. We've experienced too many collapses while engaged in heavy labor as of late, and I fear the embalming enchantments initially used on the corpses may be decaying, or may have been warped somehow. If the contracted workers could be inspected every 8 hours and raised if they have collapsed, then this would prevent the backlog of shells in the preparation rooms, and free up more contracted workers for other duties. I do not wish collapsed bodies to be disposed of. When possible, the original contracted shells are to be raised and be made to resume their duties. I have included spare embalming charms within the shells. They are to be used only when the shells cannot be repaired by stitching, bandaging, or applications of embalming fluid.
In one more desperate reach, you rummage to the back of the cabinet and grasp blindly. Your fingertips just feeling a dry, knobbled form. That of a hollowed finger bone. At last, if he is to be believed, you have the key to this portal. Now to the exit. You retrace your steps and wind down the large staircase, finding yourself back in the room you initially woke up in. It is cold in comparison to the furnace above. There is one locked gate left to try. You reach the strange, grasping red metal key towards the lock, and it almost appears to bite in greedily as you turn it. You follow the stairs down, and the temperature gets cooler still. At the base is a vast, grimly ornate hall. Marble biers and brass plaques line various alcoves and recesses. Great heavy tapestries made of shiny fabric and metal links hang from clawed iron sockets, each woven with a symbol of a screaming skull with sharp blades protruding from its sides. This same symbol is carved in bone-white marble above a great gate. Several dustmen mutter in hushed voices, echoing in the quietness of this tomb-like structure. Even with your disguise, it would be best to avoid them and seek this secret portal under the advice of your covert friend. He mentioned it being under one of the arches. You have no idea which one. You circle this time anti-clockwise, lowering your gaze to the floor, trying to not draw attention, and come to a regal memorial chamber. Embedded in the center of the wall is a large tomb, its marble surface giving it an elegant look. However, the plaque is completely blank. Shuffling feet behind you draw your attention to another zombie, carrying a large tome. This doddering corpse has had its eyes sewn shut, and the number 732 is carved into its brow. The threadwork that keeps its ocular cavities sealed looks very old. It's possible the eyes were sewn shut before their death. The book it is carrying is extremely heavy. As awkward as the zombie is, it must be incredibly strong. It is titled Tome of Bone and Ash, and lists diagrams and charts detailing several minor wards and enchantments. Skimming through, there are numerous drawings of skeletons, bones, and the manner by which they may be preserved over time. Of particular interest is the section regarding guardians. Apparently, the Dustmen animate corpses of fallen giants to serve as guardians for the mortuary. To make them even deadlier, armoring enchantments are woven into their breastplates to help shield them from attacks. At the very center of this wheel of memorial chambers is a large arched hallway, decorated by the same chain-linked tapestries. Against one side, there is an impressive rack of ornate weapons and relics, particularly a large crescent hatchet. Although an intimidating weapon, it looks more decorative than functional. Not only must it be extremely heavy, but the balance would be poor, and the edge looks dull and pitted. In front of the display, standing sentinel, is a giant skeleton in ornate bronze armor. The intricate plates have been riveted onto its ribcage and shoulder blades with a series of iron bolts, and elaborate symbols have been carved across the surface. The huge blade in its hand looks like it weighs as much as a wagon cart. Mind if I borrow that blade for a second? You must be getting tired of holding it. The skeleton looks too long dead to answer any of your questions. Either that, or its head is too high up for it to hear you. Hey, how about this skeleton, Mort? Will it do as a body? Mort grins. Is that a yes? Or...
Oh, sorry.
Mort floats up to the head of the skeleton, stares at it, then floats back down, studying the armor and the blade as he descends.
Yes, I think this'll do.
I don't know. This thing looks like more than you can handle.
What in bear did you ask me if I wanted it for, then? Practicing your cruelty skills?
Mort bobs indignantly.
And after all I've done for you...
I was thinking of your safety, Mort. I'm worried attaching your head to this thing would hurt you somehow. Mort stares at you for a moment.
Oh, what? Did we get married at some point? What's all this I don't want you to get hurt wash? If you really cared, you'd find a way to get my head on that giant skeleton's body.
All right, then. Give me a second to pry the head off this thing. As you're about to do so, you suddenly stop. If these skeletons are guardians, then disturbing them may awaken them. You study the frame behind the armor and notice the same iron bolts are set into the skeleton's shoulder, elbow, pelvic, and knee joints. A mass of thick leather cords and heavy knotted ropes run along the length of the skeleton's arms and legs, woven in such a pattern that they resemble muscles and tendons. Despite the armor's obvious age, it looks well cared for. The dancing firelight glimmers on its polished surface, and the symbols engraved on the breastplate shift whenever you try to focus on them. Almost unconsciously, you let your gaze relax as you look at the symbols. After a moment, they cease shifting and resolve into a trail of runes that weave up and down the breastplate. The interlocking pattern reminds you of chains. On its most basic level, you recall that the runes are a lesser armoring enchantment, but several skull-shaped runes and spherical tracings along the edges of the armor make you suspect some greater necromantic and warding enchantments are woven in as well. Referring back to the Tome of Bone and Ash, it seems the armoring enchantment applies only to the breastplate. The necromantic enchantment allows the skeleton to be raised, but it is the warding enchantment that gives the skeleton its limited awareness of its surroundings. You'd guess that if you were to mar the runes, it would interpret it as an attack, unless you blinded it to your presence first. Scratching and buffing with your scalpel and a rag, you mar the runes maintaining the warding enchantment first, then work backward through the rune pattern, cancelling the necromantic, and finally the armoring enchantment. The work is difficult and nerve-wracking at first, but slowly your mind begins to focus, and the runes begin to unravel beneath your attack. Within minutes, the giant skeleton has been stripped of the enchantments binding it. It collapses, falling to the floor with a crash of bones and a heavy clanging noise. You wait for a moment, but no one responds to the sound. Moving quickly, you sift through the skeleton's parts on the floor. Most of it is too heavy or too old to be useful, but you discover a piece of the skeleton's armor with a majority of one of the broken enchantments engraved on it. I'll just take it then. May I help you? You whip round, ready to defend yourself, and see a tired-looking man in a black robe. His narrow face is extremely pale, and he doesn't look as if he has been sleeping. His shoulders are slumped, and the flesh sags loosely beneath his bloodshot eyes. Greetings. Greetings. I am Suego. The man makes a slight bow, and you realize that his eyes aren't bloodshot,
so much as they have a red tinge to them. Swago's lips suddenly peel back, revealing a row of dirty, sharp teeth, and he leans in, sniffing you. Why in the hells are you sniffing me?
Your clothes, those robes, they smell of another. They are not yours.
Swago's lips peel into a strange smile, and his eyes gleam with an almost feral light.
Who are you?
I only took these robes so I could leave in peace. There is something strange about this man. You feel that a version of the truth may be your best defense here. I woke up in one of the preparation rooms upstairs. He seemed surprised.
You woke up on one of the slabs upstairs?
Yes. I know this is hard to believe, but it's the truth. I woke up on one of your slabs upstairs.
Really?
The Dustman scrutinizes you.
You do look like you have been prepared. I don't know how you would have survived such pain. Are you in pain? You look it. Well,
Swago squints. He seems confused.
Obviously a mistake has been made. Either you were brought here by blood relatives, or the Dustmen, or...
Swago suddenly hisses, as if an unpleasant thought had just occurred to him. He studies you.
It is fortunate you awoke, or you may have reached the true death before your time.
Then there's been a mistake. If I may ask, are you all right? You look tired. Swago manages a weak smile, and the corners of his mouth twitch ever so slightly.
I have recently taken ill. Minor fevers, nothing more. Sometimes they make sleep difficult.
Anything I could do?
No. Thank you for your concern. I will endure. Was there something else you wanted?
His eyes flicker towards the shattered colossus behind you.
Yes,
I had some questions. Swago nods.
You may ask your questions.
Do you know someone named Farad?
Farad? Of course I know him.
He frowns, and his eyes gleam red.
A ghoulish man. No respect for the dead, and even less for the living. He is a scavenger. A collector.
Collector?
Yes, collectors. Packs of scavengers that bring the bodies of the dead to us. They may have thought you dead, and are so copper blind they wouldn't have cared to check before delivering you here.
Do you know where I could find him?
I know he resides in the Hive, the slums outside the Mortuary, but I do not know exactly where. Some of the other collectors may know, if they'll talk to you. Anything else?
Do you know there's a corpse up on the second level that's a human in disguise?
Pardon?
There's a man disguised as a corpse upstairs. I think he's spying on the Dustmen.
What? Why would anyone...
Swago's voice suddenly drops to a hiss, and his lips peel back, revealing his jagged teeth.
An anarchist.
His eyes gleam a bright red.
An anarchist here.
He suddenly seems to remember your presence, and composes himself.
Thank you for informing me. I will see to it that the guards handle this matter.
No problem. I'd like to leave. Now. Swago nods, and the corners of his mouth twitch again.
Why, of course. Let me open the gate for you. Wait right here.
All right. The Dustman ambles towards the main gate. Just as he reaches the threshold, he glances over his shoulder, his red eyes gleaming, and flashes you a fanged smile, then turns away. However strange, you don't feel this man will turn you in, nor mention your unorthodox entry to this mortuary. Nonetheless, you certainly feel no compulsion to trust him, and with his back turned, now is your chance to slink away and finally find this damned portal. With the back of the strange, sickly Dustman turned to you, you dart into the shadows and make for the opposite side of this memorial hall. You find another decorated chamber. Silver candles lit with unflickering flames stand in rows guarding the beautifully carved marble bier. The plaque beneath reads, "Here lies Deionarra." Something draws you to this tomb, and as you approach, a strikingly beautiful form appears before you. Her arms are crossed and her eyes are closed. She has long flowing hair, and her gown seems stirred by some ethereal breeze. As you watch, she stirs, and her eyes flicker, then slowly open. She blinks in confusion for a moment, as if uncertain where she is. She sees you, and her tranquil face suddenly twists into a snarl.
You! What is it that brings you here? Have you come to see firsthand the misery you have wrought? Perhaps in death I still hold some shred of use for you, my love.
My love? Do I know you? The spirit makes a begging motion with her hands.
How can it be that the thieves of the mind continue to steal my name from your memory? Do you not remember me, my love?
The ghost stretches out her arms.
Think. The name Deionarra must evoke some memory within you.
I think I feel the stirrings of memory. Tell me more. Perhaps your words shall chase the shadows from my mind. Deionarra.
Oh, at last the fates show mercy. Even death cannot chase me from your mind, my love. Do you not see? Your memories shall return. Tell me how I can help you, and I shall.
Do you know who I am?
You are one both blessed and cursed, my love. And you are one who is never far from my thoughts and heart.
Blessed and cursed? What do you mean?
The nature of your curse should be apparent, my love. Look at you.
She points at you.
Death rejects you. Your memories have abandoned you. Do you not pause and wonder why?
I'm still trying to get my bearings, actually. What else can you tell me about myself?
I know that you once claimed you loved me, and that you would love me until death claimed us both. I believed that, never knowing the truth of who you were, what you were.
And what am I?
I cannot.
She suddenly freezes, and she speaks slowly, carefully, as if her voice frightens her.
The truth is this. You are one who dies many deaths. These deaths have given the knowing of all things mortal, and in your hand lies the spark of life and death. Those that die near you carry a trace of themselves that you can bring forth.
As Deionarra speaks the words, a crawling sensation wells up in the back of your skull. Warmth pulses down your arms to your fingertips. As you lift up your hand, you can see the blood coursing sluggishly through your arm, pouring into your muscles, and in turn, giving strength to your bones. And you know, Deionarra is right. You remember how to coax the dimmest spark of life from a body and bring it forth. The thought both horrifies you and intrigues you. I had other questions.
What is it you wish to know?
Can you tell me where I am?
Where are you? Why, you are here with me, my love. As in the times when life was something both of us shared. Now, it is the eternal boundary that separates us. It is a barrier I fear you shall never cross, my love. It is the barrier between your life and what remains of mine.
I see. I need to escape this place. Can you help me?
As you are about to ask Deionarra the question, it catches in your throat. It occurs to you that if you tell her you are looking for an escape route, she may feel you are abandoning her. If you are going to ask her how to leave, you'll need to be delicate about it.
Deionarra, I am in danger. Can you guide me to a place of safety? I shall return as soon as I can to speak to you again.
In danger?
Deionarra looks concerned.
Of course, my love. I will aid you any way I can.
She closes her eyes for a moment, and you watch an ethereal zephyr pass through her body, stirring her hair. After a moment, the zephyr dies, and her eyes slowly open.
Perhaps there is a way.
Yes?
I sense that this place holds many doors, shrouded from mortal eyes. Perhaps you could use one of these portals as a means of escape.
Portals?
Portals are holes in existence, leading to destinations in the inner and outer planes. If you could find the proper key, you could escape through one of them.
Key. Deionarra pauses for a moment, as if attempting to remember.
Portals will reveal themselves when you have the proper key. Unfortunately, these keys can be almost anything. An emotion, a piece of wood, a dagger of silvered glass, a scrap of cloth, a tune you hum to yourself. I fear that the Dustmen are the only ones who would know the keys you could use to leave their halls, my love.
Then I shall ask one of them. Farewell, Deionarra.
Hold a moment. I learned much when I traveled with you, my love. And what you have lost, I have retained. I have not divulged all that I know to you. My sight is clear, whilst you fumble in the darkness for a spark of thought.
And what is it your sight sees that I do not?
Time itself relaxes its hold as the chill of oblivion slowly claims us, my love. Glimpses of things yet to come swarm across my vision. I see you, my love. I see you as you are now, and
Deionarra grows quiet.
What is it? What do you see?
I see what lies ahead for you. It ripples through the plains, stemming outward from this point. Shall I speak of what I see?
Tell me.
First, I require a promise. Promise you will return. That you will find some means to save me or to join me.
I swear, I will find some means to save you or join you.
This is what my eyes see, my love, unfettered by the shackles of time. You shall meet enemies 3, but none more dangerous than yourself in your full glory. They are shades of evil, of good, and of neutrality given life and twisted by the laws of the plains. You shall come to a prison built of regrets and sorrow, where shadows themselves have gone mad. There, you will be asked to make a terrible sacrifice, my love. For the matter to be laid to rest, you must destroy that which keeps you alive and be immortal no longer.
Destroy what keeps me alive.
I know that you must die while you still can. The circle must come to a close, my love. You were not meant for this life. You must find that which was taken from you and travel beyond, into the lands of the dead.
Die while I still can.
I do not doubt your ability to rise from the dead. I do believe that every incarnation weakens your thoughts and memories. You claim you have lost your memory. Perhaps it is a side effect of countless deaths. If so, what more will you lose in successive deaths? If you lose your mind, you will not even know enough to realize that you cannot die. You shall truly be doomed.
Countless deaths. How long has this been going on?
I do not truly know, except that it has gone on long enough.
Farewell, Deionarra.
I shall wait for you in death's halls, my love.
She smiles, but there is only sadness in it. She closes her eyes, and with an ethereal whisper, she fades.
You back with me, Chief? You kind of drifted out on me there.
No, I'm fine. Do you know who that spirit was?
Huh? Spirit?
That specter I was talking to. The woman.
You were rattling your bone box with some woman? Where?
Maud looks around, excited.
What did she look like?
She was right on top of the byre. Didn't you see her?
No. You just kind of drifted out for a bit there. Just stood there, statue-like. I was a little worried you'd gone addled on me again.
No, I'm fine. I think. Let's move on. Dazed from your encounter, you wander the quiet halls, unable to focus. A ghost of your past, Deionarra, one who knew you better than many, and far better than you could yourself now. What have you become that you must destroy that which keeps me alive and be immortal? No longer. As you pass another alcove not far from Deionarra's tomb, the finger bone in your hand vibrates, making a rattling sound. Before you, a shimmering curtain stretches like taut fabric out of the marble stonework. You look to Maud, smile, and step through the portal.